Let's bring in our panel early. Mary Catherine Ham, columnist for Outkick, Byron York, chief political correspondent of the Washington Examiner, and Sabrina Singh, former Pentagon deputy press secretary. Thank you all for being here. Mary Catherine, this is a big moment, this meeting today. Obviously, it's the first foreign dignitary to visit the White House in President Trump's second term. A lot to talk about, the ceasefire as well as Iran.
Yeah, it's important that this is the first meeting. It's important that, the way that Trump has talked about it leading up to it. I know that their personal relationship can be maybe slightly complicated in the past, but the idea that Trump is going to probably reverse our deference during the Biden and Obama administrations to Iran policy, which I think has led us to far too close to an inevitability of a nuclear weapon at some point. The fact that he has given authorization for weapons to Israel that Biden was unwilling to give. I think that's his default sort of gut position on Israel, and one that the Israeli people and Netanyahu, of course, appreciate being asserted and will be asserted during this press conference.
Sabrina, obviously you talked from the Pentagon for a long time, advocating for the Biden administration. We are lucky to have you here as an analyst looking at this from all sides, and I'm wondering what you think of the prospects of this second phase of the ceasefire, which proposes to be the most difficult.
Well, look, the ceasefire in Gaza continues to be a tenuous hold, and what you're also seeing in the north, in Lebanon, also holding. But, what this administration and what the previous administration continues to push for is for those hostages to be released. And there's still a lot of work to be done. So I think while we, should remain optimistic that we can move into that second phase, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And I think that's certainly something that President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu discussed today. And that's something that the entire world is going to continue to look at and watch for to see that ceasefire can continue to hold. But I think what's really important to remember here is that we still have hostages that are being held captive by Hamas, and we want to see those hostages released and returned home to their families.
Yeah, Byron, the other big topic, as I talked about with Peter Doocy, is Iran. And President Trump is stepping up the pressure, the maximum pressure, as he calls it. But there is a dichotomy here between going after those nuclear sites, as reportedly Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu wants to do, and doing everything to avoid that moment if it has to come to that from the administration point of view.
Well, first of all, President Trump says very clearly Iran is not going to have a nuclear weapon, not going to happen. But I think he clearly favors the policy that he believes, and everyone else does too, worked for him when he was president, which was to starve Iran of its oil wealth so it could not use its money to make mischief and do terrible violence in the Middle East through its proxies. And that process worked. And it stopped working when the Biden administration came into office, turned the money back on, and Iran had the money to do all sorts of really bad things. So I think the president looks back on that policy favorably and wants to do it again.
Yeah.